Start. Yes, that's ugly stuff. That's, I don't know, this very special white, but okay, at least very friendly waving. But we need to change it. We need to change that welcome. And I know at least, yeah, at least we have smiles, right? Not at least. This is the most important actually, to uh, greet people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have already actually, or me, I was bubbling so much, and my beautiful audience know that Valeria and bubbling is like kind of the second name, but I'm learning. I learn. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for my honorary guests. Then when they sit and still smiling, very friendly, when I'm sitting just talking, talking, talking. And now I really try to give perfect introduction to my very, very, very special guest today, and I'm hope friend and a partner to be for many, many years. Daniel Wood, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I am excited to be here.
Yes, me too, very, very much. I was looking forward to that. And I know it's always the right timing. We were discussing a lot of different time slots, but now we are fresh. It's 5th of January. Tomorrow it's actually the second time our Christmas again. So you just today actually like like little Christmas, the day before day. So you have a very special gift for my Ukrainian Christmas. Huh? Not bad to be a
Not
Christmas
bad at
gift.
all.
Okay. And we start with podcast title. And actually, believe me or not, because yesterday I was so inspired by your last episode on your podcast, because I've been watching and make my homework very um, thoughtfully. So I saw your podcast with your honorary guest, Brian Proctor, and you gave the name that about his book, that his father knows the secret, right? So because everybody knows who's Bob Proctor. But my podcast title is Daniel Wood. He knows the secrets.
Ooh, okay, I'll
Yes.
have to live up to that now. I at least
Uh-huh.
know the people
Uh-huh.
that know the secrets. That's for
And
sure.
I'm sure, because I'm sure all who can watch your podcast, they can uh, witness it and they can feel it with the energy, and it's so obvious that absolutely you have the secrets, the secret keys to the hearts of people, how they actually respond to you, how they communicate with you, and of course all the gems which you are brilliantly delivering every week. So for example, like ego wins arguments, but humility keeps relationship. I do love it's one of the secret, right? And the next one, stop running from discomfort, because it's discomfort is your doorway. The second secret, the third one, is everybody believe like success about luck and timing, but it's about consistency in time. So it just some of them. I'm not going to take more from your mouth, but my title, he knows the secret, and I want as many people as possible go now and check up on your podcast and to find out even more secrets from Daniel, right? But
Oh, I
now my
appreciate
secret to introduce you and start asking those secrets and how actually was your way and path to achieve everything. So in today's episode, we explore how diversity in background, thinking, and neurowiring can become a powerful advantage in life and business. So, our guest is a global leader in empowerment, education, and the most important, democratizing inclusive access to impactful knowledge and secrets for all societies. Someone who has turned both wins and failures into fuel for impact. So get ready for a deep human conversation about childhood roots, inclusive success, and we will touch the subject I am patient for, neurodiversity as a superpower. So today, like I mentioned, I'm truly honored to welcome Daniel Wood. Daniel is the CEO and co-founder of the Swedish Wealth Institute, global platform built on one bold mission to democratize success. Through the Swedish Wealth Institute, Daniel has created direct access to some of the world's most influential mentors. But this is not just about celebrities, it's about his approach, about his secrets, it's about real equality and inclusion. It's about ensuring that where you start does not define how far you can go. So Daniel's journey is deeply shaped by both success and failures. And instead of hiding the setbacks, he transformed them into wisdom. His work today through global summits, immersive workshops, and the Swedish Wealth Institute podcast focuses on real freedom, practical tools, and impact through generosity. At his core, Daniel believes that connection creates empowerment and that diversity of thoughts is not optional, it's essential. So Daniel, welcome to the show. And I promise my last minute of my fontana and then your mic and your stage. But before all that, uh, the perfect person with so many accomplishments, accolades, we all are actually coming from our childhood, from our roots, and their last long echoes. Last long lasting echoes. Oh my god. So the very first question in my show today for you, please take us and welcome us into the kingdom or land or dreamland of a little Daniel. How was this guy and his dreams and aspirations and actually mindset and maybe special events and maybe special people who impacted your childhood, and how do you believe your childhood actually could further impact your adulthood mindset and the person you have become today? And Mike is, please take this mic from me now. Take this.
That's a brilliant question. And overall, I had a very good childhood. I had very good parents. And so I don't have the tough story of the tough growing up. I had very good parents. I was always very competitive. So I remember when I was 6 years old and just about to start school, I remember having my parents, because I wanted to be prepared for school. I remember them, having them create like math problems for me. So I had them, create a bunch of math problems on just a piece of paper, and then I was sitting and practicing my math to get ready. Uh, I played a lot of sports growing up, so my dad would take me. So I live in Sweden, so I'm born and raised in Sweden.
Mhm.
And my dad is from the U.S. and my mom is Swedish, so we grew up here in Sweden. But my dad's passion when it came to sports was baseball,
Mhm.
and so of course that became my passion as well. And wanted to make dad proud. But baseball isn't very big in Sweden,
Mhm.
so it took him a couple years, but finally he found that what looked like the easiest team for us to get to was all the way across town. So it was about an hour away, and it wasn't a part of town. And neither me or my dad realized this at the time, but I have friends who grew up in that part of town, and one of them was during a period he was very into like the drug trade and stuff that was going on down over there.
Mhm.
And so he told me that back then, like when I was 9, 10 years old, and me and dad would, come with the subway and we would walk through this neighborhood. We walk down, you come to the train and then it's this like long boulevard,
Mhm.
and it's probably a 10-minute walk down this boulevard. And then you get to the baseball field, and we'd show up at 6 p.m. for practice, and then practice 2 hours, and then at 8 p.m. and it's dark, we're walking back. And my friend told me that like this was one of the most dangerous parts of Stockholm. Like at that time when I was there growing up and me and dad walking through, like the police wouldn't stop in Stockholm, stop on that boulevard. Like there would be gangs there and they would be dealing drugs out in the open, and a cop car would drive past and they didn't dare stop and get out of the car. They would just keep going. And like it was apparently really really bad. And there, me and my dad, I'm 9 years old and we're completely oblivious. We're just walking down the boulevard, and I think that's in many ways just my dad, just very naive. Like, why would any of these gangs want to do anything to us? Like, we have nothing. We're here for baseball. Why would they want to mess with us?
Yeah.
So every day, we would walk by. By the time I was 11 or 12, they would send me by myself. I would take the train across town. I would walk to
No.
practice. I'd come home. This was just as mobile phones were becoming a thing. So I got my dad's old mobile phone, and it was this big. Like it was
Yeah.
basically a small baseball bat. So they would joke and say, if you need anything, you can call us on it, and if someone attacks you, you can use this as a
As
weapon
a weapon.
to protect yourself.
Exactly.
Um, but no, it was just, life is good. People are good. Why would anything happen? This is Sweden. Sweden is safe. So I kind of grew up with that naivete, and I was very motivated. I've always had very clear goals, and my goal was to become a professional baseball player. I obviously didn't achieve that goal, but the mindset has borne with me. That's just how my brain works. I think in terms of goals, and I've actually had to practice being better at being happy with the goals I have achieved and celebrating them rather than just focusing on the next one. And because I think it's a combination. I call it both my biggest strength and my biggest weakness. Is I have a goal, and this is one of our core values in the Swedish Wealth Institute. It's to become 1% better every day.
Hmm.
So in the team, everyone on the team, they obviously do their job, they do their tasks, and we have an amazing team at the Swedish Wealth Institute. At the same time, we're all looking for at least one thing we can improve today. So how
Hmm.
do we not just do our job? How do we see as we're doing it? Is there something? Could we do this a little better? Could we do it a little quicker? Could we do it a little easier? Could we change something in this routine? Could we
Hmm.
systemize or automate something? And if everyone just comes up with one thing, and it might be just a tiny little thing, but if everyone does one thing every day, then the company becomes that much better that day, and then better the next day, and better the next day. And I'm the same way in my personal life. I'm doing that for my business. I'm doing that for my training. I'm doing that for my mental and physical health. And, with my kids, I'm always trying to find ways to, in all areas of my life, become just a little bit better every day. And I say this is my biggest strength because it is, but it's also my biggest weakness, because one of the problems with becoming a little bit better every day means that tomorrow I will have improved a little bit compared to today. And in a
Exactly.
week, I'll be even better than today. And the longer you project out, if I'm getting better, my results will be better, right? If the company is growing, I will have more, more money. I'll be in better shape. I'll be more healthy, all these things, which means if that keeps going, imagine how great my life will be in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years. And that can make today feel really boring, because imagine how amazing it will be in a year. And so I've had to practice so that I don't get like depressed over today because I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I've had to start really getting good at projecting backwards too, and going, okay, well, where was I a year ago? And then
Hmm.
just remind myself, if I told that me a year ago where I am now,
Hmm.
year ago me would freak out. It would be like, oh my God, you're living the dream. This is amazing. And it kind of reminds me to, like, I can't complain that in a year it will be even better, because this year is amazing. I'm already living the thing I was crying about a year ago. So stop crying about it and actually live it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story about your childhood. And I'm so happy to know always and to understand and to find out every time when actually there is evidence that kids has been grown in safe environments and complete and friendly and nice families, which is actually really the base for our lives, because I've never experienced that myself. And I know so many people, kids in Soviet, unfortunately didn't experience that. And I'm so happy to been living in Scandinavia last 20 years and can be the witness that the opposite. It really makes me happy because we know how much importance play our childhood. So I'm so very grateful that you had actually mixed family and they found out how to give the best, I'm sure, from their cultures, their mentalities
Well,
to you.
I'll give you an example of that, which is a kind of funny combination of cultures. So in the U.S., and because this is just after Christmas, this is very obvious right now. So in the U.S., you celebrate Christmas on the 25th of
Exactly.
December.
Hmm.
And so you celebrate it in the morning because Santa came during that night, and you open all the presents and stuff first thing. Well, when my dad came to Sweden, he learned that in Sweden we celebrated on the 24th.
Mhm.
And we celebrated the night before, so we opened the presents in the evening of the 24th going
Mhm.
into it. And so my dad, who really loves presents and Christmas and all this, he and my mom, they sat down and they kind of started thinking, okay, so how do we create the feel of Swedish and
Mhm.
American Christmas?
Mhm.
And they kind of said, well, okay, we can't do Christmas on the 25th because our kids would be crushed. Like everyone else is getting their presents on the 24th and they have to wait another day. All right, so we have to do it on the 24th. But dad said, well, I love the whole idea. You know, you wake up Christmas morning and you open the gifts and everything. So the compromise, when one country has it the morning, the 25th, and one has it the evening, the 24th, if you combine that, the obvious answer is you do Christmas the morning of the 24th.
Okay,
So
perfect.
that was my childhood. That's how we combined the US and Sweden. We took the best out of both worlds as much as we could.
Absolutely, I love it. That's why we are doing that now, and I will teach my kids because I have adopted two kids from Ukraine many years ago, and they know that they are partly Ukrainian, of course, and our Ukrainian Christmas tomorrow. So we have even better. We have two Christmas, and we have
Perfect.
two Easter times, and then it's more actually excuse for one more family gathering. And now as grown up they became, it's actually not that much about gifts because when they grew up I told them that actually they knew they were from I didn't use the word orphanage, but from little house where live kids without papa and mama, and they always thought since they were small actually to already get some gifts from Santa and to spare some gifts for those kids that they can go every summer to Ukraine back to our homeland and deliver them. So
Mhm.
they in the beginning it was a little bit difficult because they always spared these gifts they didn't like. But then I said like, Michelle, Nicole, you know what? If you were this little girl in this little house without papa and mama, what kind of gift you would believe make you happy? This one or maybe this one? But you have also papa and mama and grandma and brother, and they're like, okay, mama, better one.
Aw.
So yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. And uh,
That's a beautiful lesson though to give the kids, to teach them to give. That's really cool.
we have this like now it's very we call it like regifting, and they are joking like always, mama, you are so in sustainability, you even sustain your gifts, like you get enjoyment and happiness to get them and you still can reuse them. They're recycling of gifts. And it's so funny even when I get the flowers,
Mhm.
so funny because always like okay they stay maybe one day with me, and then I always think, oh, whom I can make actually also happy. And my girlfriends, my friends, they always know, oh, if I have the flowers, fresh cut flowers, I am enjoying them. But my family knows, okay, whose next turn will be, I will be recycling and regifting these
Mhm.
flowers to my friends.
That's brilliant though. I like that. That's really cool.
So we have this tradition. Perfect, but not bad, of course. And I love the idea to self-improvement, which you has already brilliantly delivered as one of your secrets. And I'm sure this is a tricky one for me as well because I'm also Sagittarius. I'm achiever by nature, and for me all these Everest, all these mountain stops, like they're the point, they're the targets, that's why I should live. But so many times, so true that when you set the goal to be 1% better tomorrow, then also it's kind of your code and your nature. And for me it's opposite. It's not like I'm like depressive, that I'm setting so high like goals that, oh wow, where I should be next year, what actually I should find out then. But how are you about this theory, like to fail forward? Because without failure you can never actually maybe achieve the great risk, because the greatest risk not to take risk, but risk they are always, it's not, like it's not
Yeah.
linear, right? Everything what you are actually achieving this, it's like this,
Yeah.
and a little bit setback sometimes. So what actually about your setbacks. If you can't manage to be today, for example, one percentage better, but how still to transform this adversity and the periods which you maybe believe it's setbacks, but actually it's very, very wise lessons and experience, how you approach to them and how you teach your kids to also approach to them, because life is like that, very good. It's never just forward 1%. It can be one day 5% back, but then you can see in the future, wow, this actually was the fuel moment, really game changer. How actually about this to fail forward? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to reference one of the podcast episodes we did on the Swedish Wealth Institute podcast,
Mm-hmm,
where I interviewed Jack Canfield.
mm-hmm,
And is amazing interview. He was the author, or is the author, of Chicken Soup for the Soul,
mm-hmm,
and that series have sold like 600 million books around the world, which is absolutely crazy. And one of the things he said that was the biggest key for him was feedback. He said
mm-hmm,
that feedback was their key to all their success. And I think that is the first kind of part of it. Is the word failure is so strong, right? We never want to fail, right? Like
mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm,
it takes us back to school. If we failed a test, you failed, and you had to go to your parents and you failed. And it was like, it hurts, right? But
mm-hmm,
if you reframe it and it's all feedback, it's all information, that changes it. So for my kids, what we do, they play a lot of sports, right? And they've become very, very good. And a part of that is after every game or practice, every event, I ask them, all right, so what did you do well? And they'll share, they'll talk about that. Okay, so what uh, what can you do differently next time? Like, what do you need to improve?
mm-hmm,
Because usually, like in a game, even if you have a really bad day, right, where everything goes wrong, you will have done something well. You got one pass right. You stood in the way of one guy at one time. You can always find something positive. So you start with that and just take out, this is what I did well. And now obviously my kids have gotten to that level where it's usually, yeah, I scored this goal or I made this pass. Like they have good stuff to share. But on a bad day, it might just be, yeah, I tackled a guy at the right time and it saved, it got us the ball back. It was no big deal to anyone else, but that was the best thing they did today. But then you go, all right, so what do we need to improve? And so for them then to look at it and go, well, I mean, I could do this better if I'd done this differently. But also take a look and go like, all right, so I'm actually competing against these other players. What was everyone else on the field better than me at? Or
mm-hmm,
what was someone, if I take the best player on the field, what is the difference between me and the best player on the field? And just take that feedback. It's not a negative thing. It just tells me, all right, what is it I need to work on until next time? So
mm-hmm,
now my kids have gotten to a level where they're usually, the best on the field. So they'll look at the other players and go, well, that kid shot better than me. He's got a better shot than me. All right, great. So that's what we're going to work on. The next time you face off against that player, your shot is going to be better than him. And it might be that player was better at dribbling. That kid was faster. That one does that better. And so they take everything that someone did better, and that's what we're going to practice. And we're going to learn what they did and how they got it, and then we're going to do that. And I try to implement that as much as possible into my life is, and when I say getting 1% better every
mm-hmm,
day, like 1% is just a number like that. It's impossible to measure if I've become 1% better today. So it's more about the art of constant improvement.
mm-hmm.
So having like, say I totally screwed up this interview and did this poorly. That's okay. That's feedback, right? I would ask for the transcript. And this is something that's so beautiful with technology today. After every interview I do, whether it's me being interviewed or me interviewing someone, I get the transcript of the interview and I
Mm-hmm.
upload it to ChatGPT. And I have ChatGPT analyze the entire interview and then give me feedback.
Oh.
And it will tell me, all right, Daniel, you spoke too much here, or you were too quiet there. You should have cut off this speaker and got them back on track.
Mm-hmm.
Or that story, you could have done this, or you know what, you missed an opportunity to go deeper here. You could have asked this question here. And so I get all this feedback, and this is where, again, it's tough because you get that feedback, and as you do interviews, you improve then very, very quickly, which means now that the interviews I did right at the beginning of our podcast are not at all. Well, the speakers were brilliant. Like my first interview with Nick Vujicic, he's one of the most amazing people in the world. He was born without arms or legs.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's incredible, right? But and the interview is great, but looking at it now with everything I've learned and all the feedback I've gotten, I look at it and go, oh, I could have done that interview so much better. So it's, you kind of got to accept yourself for like, with what I knew then and the skill level I had then, that was really good. And it was an amazing interview. And Nick was amazing because Nick is always amazing.
Yeah.
But the interviews I do now are so much better because I've gotten so much feedback. And so I don't really like the word or the phrasing failing forward, because I don't think you ever failed. And I did have one more point though, something that I find very, very interesting. Because as an entrepreneur, I've always led kind of, smaller companies and building startups. And when you're in that startup phase, you're always testing things. And it doesn't matter if something breaks or if something fails, because all you're doing is, we would say we'd throw dirt against the wall and we'd see what sticks. And that was the fun. Like, it doesn't matter if we throw dirt against the wall and something doesn't work and something else works. And like, that's the fun. That's just trying to discover it. But what's interesting when you shift to becoming a larger company. So we've grown. We're far from a large company, but we're a larger company now. And we have a lot more in fixed expenses. We do a lot bigger events. Like we have a couple big summits coming up where we have, Robert Kiyosaki and Les Brown and Jack Canfield. And we have Marcy Shimoff and Janet Atwood and Brian Tracy and Nick Vujicic. Yeah, they're all speaking at the summit. It's so cool. Yeah, exactly. We got to have Valeria as well. But we have these amazing speakers at the summit, and we need to produce certain results, right? We're going to have like 30,000 people signing up and coming to these summits, which is so cool. But we have to do well, because then we have, financial obligations to fulfill, which means we can't be as cavalier as we were when we were starting out, where it's like, we'll just try things. We'll see how this goes. Now, this is our core. This is our core revenue driver. They have to go well. And so what we've realized is when we find what's stable in the business, and like, these are our core parts, we still iterate. We do small changes and over time. So we test every single summit. We're testing maybe 20 new things, but they're all kind of smaller things, but it's things that we know they can't really break. They will improve or they won't improve, but they won't break anything. So we can test these 20 small things. But then what we do is we have stuff over here that are new. So we have our 4-day events that are huge and that are amazing and that are just empowering. Now what we're going to do this year is we're going to try out 2-day events, because they'll be smaller. They won't have as many speakers. They won't have as many attendees, but they might be easier for people to show up to, because they don't have to commit to 4 days. They can commit to 2. But also, we can't teach people as much, so they have to be a lot more niche. They might just talk business, or they might just talk investing, or they might just talk personal development. And so they become a lot tighter. And we'll see. Like, that's a new concept. And that's our new dirt. That's how we throw dirt on the wall now. Now we're going to try this new concept, and they might totally fail. It might be totally crap. No one shows up. No one likes it. Or they're like, oh my God, 2 days, this is so much easier. And they might become bigger than the 4 days. So it's going to be a really interesting test to see. But I've realized that as you grow and as you get to different levels of stability, you innovate in different ways. Instead of being willing to break everything and anything, you kind of say, well, here we can break stuff. Here we got to be a little more careful. Here we have to be a little more strategic. And it changes. And that's been a really exciting journey to be on these last couple years of seeing that the difference in what is an acceptable failure.
Amazing. I do love so much. Actually, I was so provisional that when I said Daniel Wood, he knows the secrets. Now I can add two more secrets. It's like feedback. It's always like for me, after every second interview, I turn on my Valeria ChatGPT, like, okay, what is actually the gems of the interview? Like, so for me now it's about feedback, and I do love metaphors. I'm so like, I'm also artist, so I'm so visionary, so I can literally imagine the dirt on the wall. So for me, it's another more secret. I love it. And for me also, failure, I never like this word. And even when I'm talking to my kids, I always trying to, as you perfectly like, give them so many options how you can rephrase it, and then actually put immediately not negative but positive focus on every output. And then we can, I'm also explaining it, and it was this situation, this lesson experience, and we have, like, decision always our conscious choice, or we can repeat that, or we can take this lesson experience and consciously redesign. So it's, like Buddha said, like Bob Proctor said, and Brian, like, we are what we think, right? So but we know that by thinking we are speaking to ourselves inside all the time, and in which phrase and words, how they charge positive or negatively, right? Like low imagination, but even low imagination, you are describing the goal and everything what you're doing every single day, like, by these special words and how you proceed them. And failure, like, immediately you have to fix, you are not good enough, it's something about being broken. But consciously redesign is so cool, or like the breaks, or brainstorm, innovate, create, whoever, life, it's for that, right? So it's already, actually, we came so smoothly to diversity of thoughts and approaches, and what you have already said, how you test all these different, it was 4 days, now it's 2 days. It's so, it's play with life also. It's so important to be joyful and to remember to celebrate. Sometimes, like yesterday, you've been elaborating, okay, it was yesterday for me in this episode with Mr. Proctor, that actually it's so also important to be grateful for all kind of experience, because gratitude is so fundamental, right? And it's so important to remember, even when you achieve this 1% or gain new experience, you should do like this and say, Daniel, you're so good boy, right? And let's celebrate it, like you said, with champagne or cake or something. And it was so perfect for me yesterday, because when I was finished to listen this episode, I was like, Valeria, you're so good today, you have done this, achieved that and that. This is small, maybe for nobody, no, for anyone it's not achievements. For me it's a big one. Now I go up and celebrate with cakes, and I ate 3 cakes 2 a.m. in the night because of you. Thank you so much, but I was so happy. Okay. And now we touch a little bit also, like, diversity. It's so cool. It's a rainbow of minds and thoughts and needs. And in Scandinavia, and me, I've known so much, because I was like punched in face so many times, because we have janteloven in Scandinavia. Oh my God. And especially in Norway, we are lillebror, little brother. They're even harder here to be different. For me, I always was like too strange kind of animal for Norwegians. It's like, oh my God, no, this is hurt too much. For me, it's so difficult to break through and actually to be myself in this society, because the law of Jante, and like you mentioned, so depressive. And for me, it's like really blind way for progress, because how we need systematic change, and how we can achieve it, to do things systematically in a changeable way. We cannot repeat all the time and not show off. But it's not like for showing off, it's to be different, right? So what's your opinion about this, actually, janteloven and diversity, really diversity, what role of diversity of thoughts, approaches and everything actually plays for unstoppable leadership, for progress, for performance. What do you think? How we can, you and me, help in Scandinavia to break this janteloven?
Well, so that's a really interesting question, and it has so many levels. So Jantelagen, as we call it in Sweden, it's
Mm-hmm.
Jantelagen,
Mm-hmm.
and it has multiple parts to it, and some of them are good and some of them are bad. So basically, it says everyone should be the same. No
Yeah.
one should stand out.
Yeah.
And the way that kind of plays out in society is both directions, right? If
Mm-hmm.
someone is having trouble, they get so much support here, right? If someone has trouble in school, there is special classes to help them get up. They get extra tutoring. Like it's such a great place in that no one falls between the cracks, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you have problems as an adult, the government is there to take care of you. So it's really good on the downside, those who aren't able to produce. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the problem with Jantelagen is once you stick your head up and say, well, I don't want to just be average. I want to do more. I want to do something special. Well, it's kind of like, the whack-a-mole games, right? Your head goes up and someone's trying to bunk you back down. But what I found, this is where it gets really interesting, is if you look at Sweden,
Mm-hmm.
and I lived 3 years in Norway, but I know more about the Swedish culture. Obviously, I'm born and raised here. So in Sweden, what I've noticed is when one of our peers, when a normal person tries to be special,
Mm-hmm.
then people go, no, bonk, 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 get you back down. But if it's a Swede who is special,
Mm-hmm.
then we're super proud. So if a Swede wins the Olympics, we love that person, right? If a
Yeah.
Swede starts a company like IKEA or Spotify, we're like, yes, go Sweden, take us international. If you're an
Volvo.
actor, then it's okay, right? If you're a famous actor, then yeah, that's so cool. So there's a level of it. It's if you are one of us,
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't try to be something else. If you are something else, then we're also happy that you exist because you're the pride of Sweden. So
Mm-hmm.
the question isn't, are you allowed to jump out or not? It's now, how do I as quickly go from average to being, over average and being special? Because if you're special, then the entire Swedish people are on your side and support you. And that's kind of cool. And it's a part of Jantelagen that we don't really think about because so few people are that kind of special.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it means that there are places and there are times when we want to see you try to excel and try to take that next step. And I think in many ways that is slowly changing our society just naturally because with what's going on with social media, with AI, with this new younger generation,
Mm-hmm.
they're seeing more of the, well, wait a sec, if I'm special, I'm allowed to be. And so they're trying to jump bigger. So I see that in my kids. They have no issue. And I even see that with a lot of their friends is for them wanting to be really good at something is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's changing a little bit just because we've always been proud of those who stand out. And I think that's really cool.
Yes, amazing. And thank you so much for really good, really obvious example for me. Even when you use your body language, it's so actually important when you show that I can really relate immediately in 1 minute and take out some positive as well.
Yeah,
At
because
the
if you
same
think of it
time,
in Sweden, right, we're all so proud. Like all Swedes love that Peter Stormare is famous in Hollywood, right? We all love that, that Swedish actors do well in Hollywood. We're proud of our companies. Like we all love seeing IKEA all over the world. Like we're really proud of that as Swedes. And that is not in that sounds really weird when it comes to Jantelagen, because Jantelagen would be that we would be embarrassed about them. But no, we're proud.
amazing. And at the same time, for Swedes and for Norwegian as well. Wow, they're even like smaller country, and if somebody really achieves something, they're so incredibly proud as well. But then the question is like, usually the part or society and certain environment plays so big role how you actually develop yourself, because it's either encouraging or really discouraging. And like if in America we know the culture, it's really competition, everything about competition to be the best. How was actually in Soviet, I made in Soviet, you have to be the best. It's also so much press actually.
Yeah.
I think that for me also, like, you know, in the beginning it was just so negative because I tried to be and not try, I just tried to be myself, and then I'm too different. But also, you know, for me it's a little bit difficult because I'm not Norwegian. And
Yeah.
then for them also to take me as Norwegian to achieve something like for Norway, it's another case we can discuss. But at the same time, I'm the person that you try to find something positive and to be grateful for, and you can always find. At the same time, like I've mentioned already, I've adopted 2 kids, and they, especially one of them, special needs. And I'm so grateful for Scandinavia, and especially for Norway, like you mentioned, that special supported school, because I know otherwise maybe I could have achieved another career in Ukraine myself. But for those kids, it would be completely another story in my country. So it's always like,
Yeah.
plus it's like, you know, the swords with two shields. It's always the medal with two sides, right? It's like, but the most important, I think, it's always to be grateful and to stay on the positive side, because it's again how we interpret the world and how we describe those words. It's positive, negative. It's like failure or conscious redesigning, right? So I believe it's like it should be. It's about respectful contrast still. If it's like it should be respected more that you are actually different. But we can elaborate more next time about this. But I do appreciate your opinion about that. And actually, you now even gave me another lesson. Like, you see already, I knew that Daniel would know the lessons. You see the name of podcast. Oh my God. Okay, and the last part, and which became very passionate subject for me, it's new and emerging part of diversity. It's cognitive diversity, it's neurodiversity. It's the term which was coined by Judy Singer in Australia in 1986, but still, no, I think now it actually has achieved the official acknowledgement that it's basically very easy to understand. All of us, we have different fingertips, right? Different DNA, totally soon 8 billion people. Biodiversity, every snowflake is different, never came the same one. And it's exactly about the brain. But it's still irony, I believe. We are people, neurodiverse, how we people, like our brain are wired a little bit different, right? We perceive this all different, and situation and interpretation of the world. It's people with ADHD, OCD, autism. It's spectrum people. And the irony is that I do believe, we're engine and propel society. We are behind all the creations, almost all, and innovations, but yet we don't fit in, because all the systems actually built for neurotypical people. And still a lot of taboo, stigmatization, discrimination. We are not good, we are broken, a lot of stuff. So I do believe strongly in advocacy via storytelling and opening myself. That's why I open very boldly my story. I have established this podcast, claiming that I am OCD neurodivergent, and sometimes it's really not fun. It's not about joking. Like now, people, oh, this is my OCD. Sometimes I really know what is intrusive thoughts, and I have severe episodes, and it's believe me, it's not fun at all. But I also do believe it actually my superpower. It's my raw material. It's how I can turn this special superpower, super gift, my not weakness and uniqueness, and to achieve something else. And I do believe that we need all type of brains. So what's actually, it's about redefining intelligence, redefining action narrative, how we talk about people like me. What's your opinion? Neurodiversity now, it's gaining more awareness. What does it mean for you personally and professionally? Have you reflected about this? Have you heard about neurodiversity? What's your opinion, Daniel? Thank you.
Yeah, so I've gotten in touch with say the phrase a lot more and more over the last few years. So about 2.5 years ago, sadly, I went through a divorce,
Mhm.
and obviously that was tough. But it was interesting. The first woman I dated after my divorce actually was an expert on neurodiversity. So
Oh.
she taught me a lot about what this is, what it means. And my brother has Asperger's. So and it was only discovered or diagnosed when he was 18.
Mhm.
So it was a big, like, for us as a family to be like, oh, okay, that explains a lot. And we all kind of looked in ourselves like, yeah, we got some of that stuff in us too. And since then, I've also dated a woman who had both ADHD and panic syndrome. So
Mhm.
she would get panic attacks, and obviously, it was really, really tough for her. But seeing her ADHD was also really interesting because there are definite challenges to having ADHD, but it's also a superpower, right?
Mhm.
It kind of
Mhm.
flips between. And it's interesting looking at all these different type of people in society, and it kind of reminds me of my ex-wife was left-handed,
Oh,
and just going out into the world, the entire world is built for your right hand.
yeah.
Like, we don't even think about it as a right-handed person, but everything is built for your right hand. The handle is set to make it easier for a right-handed person when you open a door. The bathroom light is in a place to make it easier for a right-handed person to turn it on.
Mhm.
We write right-handed with pens. My grandpa, he was also left-handed, and he grew up in the United States back in, the, like, 20s or 10s, 20s, 1910, 1920. And so when he was a kid, they actually forced him into becoming a right-handed because back then you weren't allowed to be left-handed.
Mhm.
Um, but what's interesting about this, and my grandfather actually makes this point really, really well. So because of this, because he was born different, but also kind of forced to be the same, when he played baseball, and so in baseball, you one of the roles is you pitch. So
Mhm.
one person throws and the other person tries to hit the ball. And
Mhm.
now there's an advantage if you're hitting from the right side and I throw with the right side, I actually have a slight advantage because I'm throwing the ball and it's coming like from behind you a little bit. So you have to
Mhm.
be like looking over your shoulder. So if
Mhm.
I'm a right-handed hitter and you're throwing left-handed, I see the ball much better.
Mhm.
And so most everyone in the world will throw either with our right hand or with our left hand, which
Mhm.
means I personally throw with my right hand. So I have an advantage over everyone hitting right-handed, but I have a disadvantage against everyone hitting left-handed. And
Mhm.
if I threw with my left, it would be the opposite. Well, my grandpa was born left-handed, but he was forced to become right-handed. So as he grew up, he could throw with both hands.
Mhm.
And so what he would do when he played baseball was if a right-handed hitter came up, he would take his glove
Yeah.
and he would throw right-handed. And then the next hitter would come up and maybe be left-handed. He'd say, "All right, that's fine." And he'd switch hands and he would throw with his left hand instead. And so he always had an advantage. And
Mhm.
I think in some ways, and obviously I don't have any strong neurodivergence, so like I'm not the person to speak to it, but I think it is possible to reframe what we call a disadvantage into an advantage, right? My grandfather was taught that this is a huge disadvantage to be left-handed, that it's not okay. But while on the baseball field, in one specific part of his life, that doesn't mean everywhere, but in one specific part of his life, it was a huge advantage. And I
Mhm.
think that for everyone, if you can find where you as a unique person, and it doesn't matter if you have a diversity or not, every one of us has certain things we're good at, with certain things we're bad at, certain things we're passionate about that we enjoy, and certain things we absolutely don't. And often for people with different divergence, that might be more extreme to those sides, but
Mhm.
everyone has that, right? I'm good at some things and I'm really bad at other things, right? Which means if we can design our lives in a way that takes advantage of these things that we're really, really good at and
Mhm.
avoids the things we're really bad at, well, then we become superpowered. And the company my brother works for did this really, really well. So he's a programmer
Mm-hmm.
because he is brilliantly smart, right? A normal part of like Asperger's, or in more extreme cases being autism, often, or sometimes at least, people with extreme autism will also have savant syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
where they're just brilliant at something, right? Where it just comes
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah.
And on that spectrum, that
Mm-hmm.
often happens. It might not be extreme enough to be called savant syndrome, but like my brother, he's brilliant and he's a very good programmer, but he has other issues around it. So the
Mm-hmm.
company he works for only hire people on the spectrum,
Amazing.
because they know how to handle this type of people. They know how to lead them. They know how they need to be taken care of. But because they do, these people can produce at a higher level in that thing. If that's their, superpower, they can produce much better than most anyone else in the world. And so
Mm-hmm.
for my brother, it was perfect, right? He learned to program, and then he came to a company that understood that if they put him in the right situation, he'll probably be one of the best programmers in the world for them. And I think that is how we need to define ourselves. In none of us are great at everything. And if any one of us, it's like the joke about school. We treat everyone the same at school.
Mm-hmm.
But if you and there's an old story about the animals in the woods were going to create a human type school.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had a monkey, there was like a bear, there was like a fox, there was a fish, there was a duck, and now they're all going to get to learn things. So the first lesson, they're all supposed to climb a tree. Well, so the monkey climbs up the tree, and the fish just looks at the teacher and goes like, "What the hell? How am I supposed to do that?" And then the next lesson is, "Great, everyone, it's time for flying lessons." And the duck says, "Yes, all right, I got this." And the duck flies away, and everyone else is like, "Well, what do we do?" And then it's swimming lessons, and the fish is like, "My turn." But everyone failed every other class.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how we treat each other sometimes. Some people just happen to be naturally good at school, and so we see them as superstars. But the rest of us, well, I was pretty good at school, so I shouldn't say that. But for those who aren't good at school, they are now labeled as stupid or
Mm-hmm.
different or dumb. And it's like, no, you just had a completely different superpower. And that doesn't mean you're worse than the one who was like, I was naturally good at math, and I actually I skipped university and instead got into business and entrepreneurship. But when I left high school and was going into university, I had been accepted to the top university in Sweden's theoretical physics program.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another version of my life where I'm a theoretical physicist.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I got into business. But that was because, like, that's what I can do. That's my way of seeing the world. Someone else sees it differently, and that different might have made them look bad in school. But if they can find what their superpower is in the real world, then that they will be superpowered too.
Well, I do appreciate so much. It's genuinely impressive how you really not just theoretically explain, but you're given the perfect example empirically, practically. And I'm so happy to find out and to get the evidence that the company has special focus on neurodiversity management. It's exactly one of third part of my PhD and what I'm advocating for, of course, because many people, when we are talking about diversity and inclusion, they automatically think about ethnicity and cultural and gender diversity. But now it's new part, neurodiversity, which is gaining more and more awareness today. And this is my also passion to increase this awareness. And I do love the idea that companies already practically use these skills as superpower, and
Yeah.
because then it's not just about presence, because we know actually, every fifth person in the world neurodivergent, and it's just statistics for people who could be identified. Can you imagine how many people has never ever?
Well, that's the thing too, is when you say that, it makes it sound like the other 80% are all the same. So 20% are different, the other 80% are the same. That's like the joke in the Monty Python skit,
Mm-hmm.
Life of Brian, when Brian is standing there saying, "You don't need someone to lead you. You are all individuals. You are all different." And someone raises their hand and says, "Not me." And it's like, we're all different. We're just, some of us are more extreme versions of different, but and that would be those 20% identified. And as you say, there's probably another 20% unidentified, but also in those 60%, that's not a homogenous group. They have their superpowers. They have their weaknesses. They have their strengths. They have their, the things that they make them look horrible. And I think that's what we need to understand is, if we can figure out how to teach people to find their superpower. It's one of the things I say with my kids is, my goal is to treat my kids the same by treating them differently. So my goal is to be the best possible dad as I can to each of my kids. But because my kids are different means I cannot be the same dad to each of them. I have to be a different dad with each of them. And because that will get them the best possible results in their life. Of course, that comes with the other challenge that they see how I treat their brother.
Yeah.
And now they're like,
Oh,
"But that's not fair. You did that."
okay.
I'm like, "Yes, but I do this for you." And, it takes a lot more communication. But that's my attempt is, you treat people the same by treating them differently.
Amazing. Wow. One more gems and secrets. Like, okay, feedback, dirt on the wall, different that. Oh my God, I have really funny evening today to make and sit and really enjoy myself with all these nuggets or pearls or hidden gems from Daniel. I love our conversation so much. I could sit and continue further and further, and I hope we will get the opportunity to not just talk, maybe co-create something together. Because more and more now, it's not just about awareness. It's not just about presence of idea that we are all different, and we should acknowledge that. But I can witness more and more global summits all over the world. I was participating this fall in three. A global was a keynote speaker of two of them. These Horaces I have mentioned to you, and then one special global summit for females in Miami, where I was speaking about neurodiversity management, and I was participating, and it's part of my project with Stanford University about neurodiversity. And more global summits, actually they do stuff as well for people with neurodivergence, because then sometimes when you gather so many people, it's quite overwhelming for people with spectrum. So they really now put special attention and adjust, like, for example, small things. You don't need to really invest a lot of time and money, but just to be aware and focus. They have, like, special quiet rooms. They have some poses. They have some breaks for meditation. They have special walk. They have a lot of small adjustments, and actually I'm very happy that they invited me for the next time to adjust and to test maybe some ideas. So if you guys, your company, your team would like to discuss one of them, how I can be helpful with my baggage, my special mental uniqueness, let's put like this, I would be more than happy to give some ideas. And it's up to you to throw my dirt to the wall or not, but I will be happy to help with my dirt.
Yeah, no,
My
absolutely. That sounds really cool.
Yeah. Before we are wrapping up, I always love to start with like a little bit positive note, because what's going on in the world now, it's really chaos, and especially I'm proud Ukraine. In my country is so depressive, and I always start like with a little bit joke and about our childhood, because at least our childhood, it's like metaphorically reminds me about some magic, some fairy tales, something positive, and I do love idea. You had so nice childhood, and also wrapping up after a lot of special deep subjects that may appear on the podcast, also to wrap up on the positive note. So usually I have my vice president come in this time and helping me, and then people like immediately, oh, I'll be all of a sudden three of us in the studio. We were not warned about this, but no, my vice president is little cutie, actually a very tough one, though she is pink. It's a small like this put you now imaginary skills, because she is in my Paris studio, and I cannot replace her. I swear to her. But it's like this small pink Aladdin lamp.
Okay.
And it's perfect vice president, because she can never like shout at me and be against my opinions. But she's so sustainable. She wants to grant the wish to as many guests as possible. And my last question, usually I just like put, this is my vice president. People like, oh, thanks. Okay. Oh, what is it? And then I ask her, what is this? Oh, it's Aladdin lamp. I said, yeah, that's correct. And she's a magical one as well. So my last question, just right now, with all this like embodiment, energy, and everything, after our conversation, the one wish, because she's not maybe that generous as in Aladdin, because she needs to work so many times for many people, not just for Aladdin, but one wish granted for sure. So my question is, for me and for her, that wish just right now for Daniel Wood, who knows the secrets, what that wish would be. Thank you.
That is really cool. Well, I definitely have a wish, and as you said, it definitely will come true. So I'm think I'm going to expand. I'm going to double what I normally wish for and ask for twice as much now, because your lamp is going to deliver. So I might as well ask, right?
Yes. Use the advantage.
Right. So one of the things I'm very proud of with the Swedish Wealth Institute is all of our events are free for people to attend. And our goal is to give as much value as possible. What we want to do is democratize success and give people these tools, the things that the top 1% learn that most of us never learn growing up. And I think that's the best way to save a lot of the challenges we have right now. I think the biggest problems come from the middle class disappearing. And so my goal is to help teach a new middle class, entrepreneurs, investors, people who are going their own way. And one of the things we've been able to do, because we've been able to grow, is we've just signed an agreement with Eden Reforestation Projects. And what Eden does is they'll take like barren land, like destroyed land, and they turn it back into woods or rainforest, which is a really hard process, but they've done this for many, many years, and they've gotten very, very good at it. So we've signed an agreement with them that for every person who registers for one of our events, and just it's a free ticket, right? They take one of our free tickets, we will make a donation on their behalf to Eden Reforestation Projects, and it will be enough for them to reclaim 1 square meter of land and turn back into forest. So for every person that registers, we get 1 square meter back of forest or rainforest. And so I have set a goal for this year for us to reclaim at least 500,000 square meters this year. But I have a lamp now that grants wishes. So I'm not going to ask for 500,000. I'm going to ask for 1 million square meters this year that we can get back and create massive, amazing forests again. And at the same time, of course, we will be changing lives. We'll be helping people build their businesses. And if we could do that, we will have made a true impact, both on people in the world and on the planet itself, which would be absolutely amazing.
Wow, adorable. I'm joining with all my fibers and molecules and atoms this wish. And let's really, really make it happen. Of course, my lamp and me, myself, to really create this magic wood land. Because like you said, now I love this. Oh my God, this is so magic. This is so magic. Like everything what's going on, you actually have signed this brilliant magic contract that we can reclaim and expand the wood. And of course, from Daniel Wood, we are making more wood. So it means we actually building our wood land. And it means also that you are giving the part of your soul to every single person, because you are wood to woodland, right?
That is true. I hadn't thought of that, but that is a very good point.
You see, I actually, wow, I do love this so much for our woodland. Okay, lamp is already starting. Like, oh my God, this is so magic. We are going to create and build our woodland. Ooh, perfect. So Daniel, thank you so much. It was really brilliant journey which started from the secret, and now we're wrapping up with actually even bigger project building in creating magic woodland. Love it. Love to be the part of this, and I will be the first to take the part of this woodland. So for me, so I will be registered, and we put all the information for people, of course, in all the posts after this podcast, where they can go and register to help us to grow and raise this woodland now to 1 million. Of course, we have to start immediately, right? That's correct. So your journey reminds us that the diversity and inclusion, and the most important, democratizing, it's actually, it's like you said, it's, I think it's in our challenge time, it's still like, everything new, it's very good, old which is forget, and it was more and more, but now you're taking again and democratizing, and through the free access, it's amazing initiative. I'm so grateful uh for you being you, what you are doing, what you put your wood soul. Not, no, you have not wood soul. You have really fire, warm heart and soul. Actually, it's not from wood, but wood actually it's our lungs. We can breathe through them. Without wood, and trees, we can never breathe. So it's a game changer what you are doing from your child. Thank you for your childhood experience, and to really global impact. Thank you for your feedback and all the secrets, and especially a very brilliant example about neurodiversity, how we can use it, about your brother. So, and to our listeners, please go and check these projects and all the projects that Daniel passionately advocating about our woodland, now our common project. And believe and always remember, your backgrounds matter. We are all different. This is the beauty, rainbow of beautiness, because we are so different. And your mind matters. Your difference are for sure your greatest assets. So thank you for tuning to Diversity is the Game Changer. And until next time, stay curious, stay inclusive, keep building a life of diversity, freedom, and woodland.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Oh, now Lamp, she's like, Valeria, let's run. We have to work now. Stop. Again, your Fontana, we have to work. No more talking, more walking. Okay, and until next time. Bye-bye. And I push, and now again, this boring blackboard. You will see now.